Update. I've 28 female lost weight and now I want to divorce my husband 29 male. Original post. We've been married for 5 years and together for 7 years. We also have a 3-year-old kid. After having the baby, I struggled a lot with losing the baby weight and adjusting to being a parent. I also had the baby blues at first, which was really tough. I wasn't really focused on my appearance and instead I was trying to figure out our new routine and way of life. But then my husband started making these little comments about my body and how I should start working out and wearing makeup again. It made me feel really awful, and I worried that he might start looking elsewhere because we weren't being intimate anymore. He even suggested hiring a nanny so that I could have more time for myself, but I wanted to be there for our baby full time, so I turned down the offer. That made him angry and he started acting cold towards me. Months went by without any hugs, kisses, romance, or any kind of affection. My self-esteem hit rock bottom. Every time I looked into the mirror, all I saw were the flaws that my husband pointed out. By this time, our son was already 2 years old, and I was desperately wanting to win my husband back. I thought that if I got into shape again, he would show me love and affection and our marriage would be saved. I craved his attention so much, and it hurt to see how much things have changed. But you can't force someone to be affectionate. I took matters into my own hands and hired some help. With more free time, I started going to the gym, taking swimming classes, which are amazing for your back, by the way. Getting my hair and lashes done regularly and eating healthier. And guess what? I've lost a lot of weight and I feel amazing. Suddenly, my husband started touching me, kissing me, buying me flowers, and treating me like the complete opposite of how he treated me before. You'd think that would make me feel better. For some reason, it made me feel worse, though. All I could think about were the hurtful things that he said to me when I was at my lowest, and how cold he was towards me. I get that you can't force attraction, but why couldn't he just hug me or give me a kiss on the cheek even when I was overweight? Why couldn't he love me as a human being and the mother of his child? When my self-esteem came back, I got really angry at myself for putting up with his behaviors for so long. A few days ago, I told him I wanted a divorce because I don't think that I can move past how badly he treated me. He apologized and promised to change and prove that he can be better. But honestly, I'm not sure if I can trust him again. What if I gain weight again or have to deal with my health issues? Will he treat me like garbage again? I've talked to some friends and family about the whole situation, and some say that I should give him another chance while others say that I should leave him. So I'm turning to Reddit for some advice. Am I just being upset over this? Do you think it's possible for my husband to change his behavior for the long term? Or is a divorce the right move here? Now for the comments before reading the update. This is the type of man who will leave you if you get cancer or a debilitating illness. His attraction determines his love and respect, which means neither is permanent or guaranteed. He's shown you that. Don't forget it. Gosh, I'm so sorry. This is truly awful. You are 28 years old. I'm a year older than you. I'm almost 30. And I'm telling you that there's so much more out there for you. My daughter is 6 now, and when I left her father, I thought my life was over. He used to complain about everything. How I dressed, the music I listened to, the TV shows that I watched. I realized after my daughter was born that I would never want her to deal with the treatment that I was accepting for myself. Move on. If you gain weight again, or heaven forbid, get sick in some way, this is not the man you want by your side. Those men are out there and you are so young. You can find someone who will love you with no strings attached. Yes, you were justified. I've had huge weight swings in my marriage and my husband never treated me like shit when I was heavier. Based on what is he going to change? Saying you will is meaningless. Frankly, I wouldn't want to be with someone who treated strangers like that, let alone me. How will you treat your kid if they are overweight? I've been both my lowest weight and my highest weight in my current relationship, and how I look has never had an impact on how my husband treated me. When I was 140 pounds, he told me I was sexy and couldn't keep his hands off me. When I was 220 pounds, he told me I was sexy and he couldn't keep his hands off me. Now for the update. Thanks a lot for all the advice you gave me after my last post. It was really tough to make a decision, especially considering our son. So I sat down with my husband and had a conversation about what would happen. He kept saying how sorry he was, but I asked him if he actually understood why his behavior was hurtful. He just kept saying he was being a jerk, but I felt like he didn't really grasp why it was a problem. So I broke it down for him. I told him that saying I still look pregnant 3 months after giving birth or calling me a mess because of my dark circles, rolling his eyes when I wanted to show affection, not talking to me for days without any reason, and not wanting to spend time together were all really hurtful. And on top of that, he didn't offer the help so I could take care of my mental health. Instead, he wanted me to go to the gym and get in shape. When I reminded him of all this, he couldn't even look me in the eye and didn't say a word. The silence in the room was so thick you could cut it with a knife. I just don't think he fully understands how badly he treated me. No amount of extra weight can justify that kind of behavior. I wouldn't treat a stranger like that, let alone someone I love. But for the sake of her son, I still offered him couples counseling, and guess what? He refused. He said he was afraid that the therapist and I would team up against him and make things worse. We went round and round in circles, and after almost 3 hours of talking, I finally had enough and told him I wanted a divorce. He tried to convince me that he could prove he could change, but when I asked him how, he just said I had to have faith in him and see it for myself down the line. That's just not good enough for me. I told him I was taking my son to my mom's place for the weekend and that we would discuss everything before finalizing the divorce on Monday. He said okay, and we left. And now he won't stop blowing up my phone, begging for a second chance and telling me how much he loves me and how he made a mistake. It's really disheartening to see how much he changed after we had our son. All I ever wanted from him was love, loyalty, and respect. But he didn't give me any of that in the past few years. I still wanted to give him a chance, but he doesn't want to put in the work to make things better. If it comes to that, I'll be able to raise our son on my own as I'm financially independent and secure. I also have a lot of help, so it'll be okay. I still want him to be part of our son's life and be the best daddy he can be. But I can't be with someone who doesn't love or respect me. I wanted to say thank you again for all of your support and the advice you gave me. I thought my husband was the person I would grow old with, but the universe has other plans for me. It will be really hard to let him go, but I'm hoping it's for the better. Story 2. Mother-in-law backed out of babysitting with no notice for a double date. I made arrangements with my mother-in-law 3 weeks ago to babysit my toddler. Last night she texted me that she made plans to go on a double date instead and bailed on me. I lead a support group and I really needed this help. This is after being lectured quite condescendingly, usually in my own house, for the last 3 months about how they live 5 minutes down the road and they can help me out with a toddler and all I have to do is ask. I needed this help. I asked. I gave her lots of notice, reminded her, tried to make plans. This is also after always saying how she wishes she could spend more time with the toddler. Earlier in the week, I saw her in person. She came to our house for dinner and I asked her and she said that she could do it. Cherry on top, they asked to come over to our house at 8 p.m. last night to watch football. They know the kids go to bed around 7:30. The door was unlocked. All they had to do was literally open the door and come in. They come over to our house several times a week for the last 2 years. They are no longer guests, like they have keys to our house. Anyway, my mother-in-law rang the effing doorbell and woke the baby and the toddler up. They have never rang the bell at our house, but for some deranged reason, they decided they had to push the button last night, even though my husband told them before they came over that the kids are asleep and not to knock on the door. I guess they didn't put together that pounding on the door is too loud, so ringing the bell is 10 times worse. Then she talked all night about how it took my toddler 2 hours to fall back asleep. My 4-month-old fell back to sleep quicker miraculously. I honestly ignored her and didn't even look at her face. Part of me feels like I should have said, well, she was asleep until you rang the doorbell and woke every baby in the house up. And I didn't get to watch the first half of the game in my own house while you did because I was busy calling every parent in my support group to see what we could do about a babysitter so that I don't have to cancel on them after a month of effing planning. Instead, I just stared at the baby monitor and didn't even acknowledge her. She mentioned it so many times too, like, "Lady, she's having a hard time falling asleep because you woke her up after she was asleep." Which means now I have an evening meeting that hinges on my kid getting an amazing nap tomorrow, and she's close to dropping her last nap. Basically, I'm bringing her to my support group, and one of the parents is bringing her kid to babysit, and we will just try to keep an eye on them, and hopefully they behave. I'm just praying this isn't a total dumpster fire today at this meeting. No one wants me to cancel it. And if you ask, no, this is not my first. I had my second baby at the end of September. My son came 2 weeks early, and his birthday is one day after my daughter's. My mother-in-law and her husband agreed to watch my daughter back then. In the middle of the birth, they decided to bounce. They had a social engagement they wanted to go to. So they ditched my kid on her birthday, and I ended up coming home from the hospital earlier than I should have. So on my daughter's birthday, my husband brought her to the hospital to pick me up and bring the baby brother home. It did not go well. She had a meltdown and found the hospital freaky and checking it out longer than they planned. Not a great second birthday. We did have a birthday party planned, but it got canceled because I obviously couldn't pull it off. Didn't help that apparently her grandparents didn't care either. My mother-in-law made a big fuss about wanting to do toddler's birthday at her house and making that a thing that my husband has to fight with her about, only to ditch at the last minute for a wedding of a couple that she isn't even close to or stays in touch with. The couple is someone my husband went to high school with, so we are close with them, but not my in-laws. So effing weird, honestly. Apparently people kept asking them why they weren't with our toddler and didn't they want to be there when we brought the baby home. Well, no, they would rather go to a wedding with a bunch of people nearly 40 years younger than them. They were just so hungry to climb some imaginary social ladder that they will gladly screw us over in order to do it. And my husband made us move hundreds of miles to be close to his family, only for his entire family and his siblings to be incredibly unreliable when we need them most during birth. This is after my mother-in-law fell down the stairs and broke some bones, and my toddler and I were the only ones other than her husband who visited her regularly for the weeks that she was in hospice care. We visited her nearly every day, and I was pregnant at the time, so it was a lot. They are in their 70s, and he is going to turn 80 next month, and they think that I'm going to help them out in old age. And honestly, I'm not their kid, and I feel like I'm just so effing done. Like I'm the person they call to go over and let their dog out or go over and bring their newspaper in, and I just feel like telling my husband I'm not going to do jack shit for his parents. They have 4 children that live here, and because I'm a stay-at-home mother, they assume that I have nothing better to do than run over to their house, but in reality, it's a major pain in my ass. I'm done. I'm so effing done. Having her bail last minute with zero notice and leave me in a shitty and an embarrassing position like this, and then to come over to the house and wake all my babies up after a long effing day is just my last damn straw with this woman. Now for the comments. This person says, why on earth are they over at your house so often? Several times a week? Time to cut way back on that and change the locks. No more just walking in. Disconnect the doorbell. Tell them no more knocking or just dropping by. When you have scheduled a visit with them, set an arrival time and tell them to text when they arrive. If they disregard any of this and wake a child, they leave. No more asking them to babysit. When they ask why, cite the hospital, the birthday, and the support group incidents. 3 strikes, they're out. Tell them that you know how concerned they are with their social standing and that they will dump you if a better opportunity comes along and you need reliable options. You are a stay-at-home mother. That is a job. Loading up 2 small children to cater to the in-laws is a chore that you don't need. Tell them you are not available. Start setting the precedent that you will not be the caregiver if they end up needing help. Your husband put you in this situation by moving you so close to them. He needs to be the one to arrange things along with the other children. Next time they offer to watch, call it out. Nope. Every time we tried that, you bailed on us. Birth of second? Toddler's birthday, even when you have 3 weeks notice and it's only for a couple hours. The only thing that I can rely on you for is to be unreliable. As for the doorbell, I would have told them to leave while you and DH get LO back to sleep. Boundaries without consequences are just suggestions. My in-laws used to walk all over us and our routine with our baby and toddler naps and ruined bedtimes, until we started speaking up and putting a stop to it. You don't say where your husband stands in any of this. First step might be marriage counseling. Second step, shutting them down. They came over late and rang the doorbell. They get a door shut and locked in their face. Will they throw a fit? Probably. This person says, I don't mean to be rude to older people because I know an 84-year-old woman who has more sense than my 70-year-old mother, but do you really want a 70-something-year-old watching your kids? I know it's frustrating, and I'm not saying your frustration isn't justified, and I get that you probably didn't want to pop off on her when she woke your kids up, but in the moment is the perfect time to express frustrations. She should know what she did and that she disrupted the household. And if she doesn't know better, then it's okay to express your feelings about her bad behavior. Sitting there looking at the baby monitor doesn't show her your displeasure. In fact, it might even send the message that what she did was okay. We know it's not. It sounds like they're treating you like a servant in your own home. I'd take keys away and stop being their beck and call girl in regards to the mail and letting their dog out. For people who make a commitment and then flake at the last minute, I'd be done too. Rely on people who are reliable. They're not, and they need consequences. Take those keys away. You're not an open house. Good luck, OP. Frustrating situation for sure. Story 3. My husband cheated on me and is now asking if he is able to remain friends with the person he cheated with. My 42 female, husband 42 male, and I have been together for just over 20 years and have small children, all under the age of 10. Just over 3 months ago, my husband confessed to having an affair with a close friend of his. It was someone he has known for many, many years, about the same length of time that he's known me. The affair lasted almost 2 years, but I imagine that perhaps there was emotional cheating going on beforehand for goodness knows how long. His plan initially was to leave our marriage. After confessing the details of the affair to me, he also shared everything with his parents and close friends, even his colleagues at work. He had made plans to leave, going as far as signing a lease for a place, furnishing it, and paying up front a year's worth of rent, money he was able to have access to by remortgaging our home. He was fully set on starting a new life. I urged him to stay and give our marriage a chance to be saved. I felt we owed our relationship of over 2 decades that chance. It took a lot of work convincing him, but he ended up deciding to stay. And in the end, it was his decision to stay, and since making this decision, he said it over and over that he is exactly where he wants to be, with his family. Since making the decision to stay, he has cut off all contact with his affair partner, and he has been no contact since. This has been about 12 weeks ago. There are a few red flags in that he hasn't deleted her number, neither has he stopped following her on various social media platforms, but most importantly, the communication with her has ended completely. The reason why I know this for sure is because of the radical honesty he demonstrates in marriage counseling. He talks openly and candidly about her in our sessions to the point where I find it triggering, but I understand that open communication is going to be essential when it comes to rebuilding our marriage. I have to emphasize again that although he needed to be convinced to stay, I can see he is committed to rebuilding our marriage. He wants it as much as I do. Something that he has brought up earlier in our counseling sessions and brought up again very recently is his desire to have a friendship with his affair partner. He says because they were friends prior to cheating, he would like for them to still have a friendship. I have said that I'm not comfortable with that. I said it the first time he made that suggestion, and he brought it up again just a few days ago. I am worried how this might impact our marriage if he is permanently cut off from her, and I'm unsure on what to do. Now for the comments. I've watched family members try to work it out after he had a 2-year-long affair. It all started fine, like the two of them were working on things together, but after a while I started to notice that really He's been trying to change her over time, trying to shut her up when she talks about her feelings, trying to pretend he's done nothing wrong. I won't be around them anymore, and I actually do not want any of my children to be around them because I really don't like condoning the relationship that they have. This is largely due to his lack of contrition. When we see him, he does not seem to think that he has anything to atone for, and his actions show that. It may seem like you're saving your family or your long relationship, but from an outsider's perspective, there's really no way to move forward without seeing some contrition from your partner. Him wanting to have his partner as a friend in his life is a major red flag that he does not really feel the full weight of how he's betrayed not only you but your children and your family unit as a whole. As an outsider, I do not want to be around someone who had the capacity to lie to their family and the people they supposedly love for 2 years for their own selfish reasons. The time that he took away from you and his children to spend with this woman, the money that he spent on dates with her, all of these things contribute to a significant betrayal, and a person who is and has a lack of moral integrity that I would be ashamed to condone by being around myself or allowing my children to be around, acting as though nothing happened. If I were you, I would tear the Band-Aid off, let him go back to his affair partner, and try to salvage the long life that you have left now while you are young. She is in pain emotionally and mentally. Anger is normal, but she needs to let go. Let's not get upset with her posting here. That is a good sign that she knows she needs help out of this. 20 years is a long time. Kids under 10, this is rocking her entire world. Like I told her, get a lawyer. The adultery and finding the apartment lease is enough proof for grounds offer for divorce, alienation of affection, etc. It will sting for a long time, but better at age 42 than 52. This person says, honey, this marriage is a wash. Sorry, someone needs to level with you. I was in your situation, tried counseling. We moved to another state, and the AP was still sending stuff. Supposedly, he had reached out to let her know that he saw a used car in our new state that was everything that she wanted. He also went so far to rent an apartment. Once a marriage is this far off the rails, even if you reconcile, a bond of trust has been broken. There are affairs, like one-night stands or someone gets drunk and bangs the caterer at the holiday party. Then there are emotional affairs like the one that you described. His bringing up the issue in therapy is proof to it's not over. Also, you're paying the therapist to work on the two of you as a couple. To hell with the AP. He should not bring her up in all the multiple sessions. This is another sign he has not moved on. Trust me, get an attorney, get your affairs, excuse the pun, in order. Please do this while you are 42 years old and still have a window of time if you want to be with someone else in 5 years or so. Do not stay for your kids. They will be worse off in a sham marriage because he will cheat on you with her again. He already is emotionally. For all you know, he may only be staying with you for the sake of the family. He is not in love with you, and you deserve to have someone there for you, not just the family. Get an attorney. He cheated, so you have grounds and will get a good deal for you and the kids. That's all for today. If you're enjoying this story, please like the video and share your thoughts in the comments section down below. Thank you.